Okay, hi, it's Trish Mangold, and we're back here on day two. I'm so excited that Ashley's here today. Little difficulties because I kind of moved the date around. So I'm going to post this recording inside Harmonium for everyone to catch it at their convenience. A text came through. Let me just make sure it's not somebody. Okay, we're good. Okay, so we are talking. So yesterday I didn't record. Now I'm going to mute this because my contractor's here and he's going to be going in and out. Sorry. Hopefully that's muted. Okay. So yesterday wasn't recorded, but I'll do a brief recap. I'll try to do a brief recap of what we talked about. So basically, we're talking about things that don't show up on regular blood work that might be holding us back, right? So we're talking about three self-assessment quizzes. There's the neurotoxic score, a neurotoxic questionnaire that gives you your score, and that lets you know if your toxic load is low, if it's moderate, or if it's high, and where you need to focus. So we can look at this as a tool to reassess revisit it every 30 days as we're moving through and adding ways to limit that toxic load. We can use it as a kind of a baseline test to see where we're at and celebrate the wins, and then look at where we need to focus some energy on limiting that toxic load. That's what we're going to go over today. And then tomorrow, we're going to look at the metabolic flexibility score and questionnaire. And we all have access to this in that Google Drive doc. So all three documents are in there. Um, and metabolic flexibility. So when we think of metabolism, does anyone want to say anything about what they think metabolism is, or how they feel it works with their body, or how they feel their metabolism is working for them?
Isn't metabolism like the time it takes for your body to digest
Yeah.
something? Okay.
Exactly. And some people have fast metabolisms and they eat a lot, and some people can look at food and put on weight, right? And they have a sluggish metabolism. So that's pretty much in a nutshell what your metabolism does. It's responsible for burning fuel. And we have two types of fuel in the body. We have food, which everything that passes our lips is converted to glucose in the bloodstream. So that's our sugar burner system. And then we have ketones, and ketones are our other fuel source. When we talk about metabolic flexibility, the reason why there's the endless debate on which diet is right for you and which exercise is right for you is because most of them ignore our second energy source, which is ketones. We've heard of ketogenic diet, which helps the body get into ketosis. Fasting is a fantastic way to really flex your metabolic muscle and really become metabolically fit. And some of the signs when you know you're metabolically fit is like you're able to kind of eat 3 meals a day, like good balanced meals with good clean protein and healthy fats and good carbs, nature's carbs. Hi, Mel. I'm just kind of recapping on what we were talking about yesterday. So today we're going to be going over the neurotoxic score, and we're going to be looking at the metabolic flexibility score tomorrow. And on Thursday, we'll look at the mitochondria questionnaire. So these are all three scores that you're using to understand your baseline and where you can support your body. And we were just talking about the metabolism and how we have two sides to the coin on the metabolism. So metabolism, Ashley mentioned, is how we burn food and how fast we digest food. So we have our sugar burner system when we eat, and we have our ketones when we don't eat. In that fasted state, which takes around, to go through the blood sugar that's coursing through our blood from the last meal, it might take around 13 to 15 hours, depending. Some people it takes longer to get into ketosis. And ketones are made in your liver, and your brain thrives in ketones. So a lot of people are shocked when they go into longer fasts, when they work with me, and they understand how to support their body through a fast and do it in a way where you feel nourished and grounded. And people are amazed at how much energy you get, how much mental clarity you get, and how much, really how much focused you are. Like you're just like a task king or a queen. You're just like getting shit done. And the mental clarity. So a lot of us, the reason why we're looking at our toxic load is because, you know, I'll just say, a lot of the times we're told it's our age, it's our hormones, or it's our genes, right? And we're kind of stuck with that. And that's just kind of part of getting older is that stubborn belly fat and, the brain fog. And, that's just part of going through perimenopause and our hormones are shifting. And, that's just kind of the luck of the draw. And, you're kind of, did you get good genes from mom and dad? Well, I'm here to help you myth bust all of that and truly understand that you have way more control than what we've been led to believe. We all have different size toxic buckets, so we all have different thresholds for our environment. Like if we're exposed to certain things, or if we go have a night out and a few glasses of wine with friends, sometimes it can, we bounce back with ease. We feel pretty good. We can kind of get through, like maybe in our 20s, we can get away with a lot more less sleep and just kind of bounce back the next day and get through our day and not be shaken too much. But, sometimes you go and have two glasses of wine and do the same thing and you're like, whoa, it took you 2 days to recover and you just feel like you kind of had been hit by a bus. And I know we've all kind of felt that, right? So it does have to do with the toxic burden in our system and how our liver has 500 functions a day. And we're constantly being exposed to stuff. And it's not about being fearful of our environment, but it's about being empowered. So the whole purpose of this conversation is for you to understand how you can limit the toxic load, how you can build resilience from the inside out, so that you can have a greater bandwidth when life throws a curveball or you get exposed to a virus or a cold because it's inevitable, but you're more resilient. Your immune system is less inflamed and it's more responsive. So that's kind of the name of the game. We're limiting the toxic load here. We're increasing our metabolic flexibility, which we'll discuss tomorrow. And then we're going to look at mitochondria. So mitochondria on Thursday, mitochondria, I think I mentioned, is the powerhouses of our cells, the little batteries, the little organelles in our cells. And just as we recharge our phones, we need to recharge our batteries. And we can do that in ways with natural sunlight. Best time is like around sunrise and sunset, that low level light. That's why red light therapy is going like crazy right now. Very popular because it's recharging our mitochondria. Um, and also grounding, we talked about that. So we'll get into more of those details, the free stuff, and then the tools that we can add to our daily routines to help optimize. Okay, so did both of you get a chance to look at the neurotoxic questionnaire and give yourself come away with a score? Okay, great. And awesome. I would love to hear from both of you since it's just today we have a light group, so we can definitely go through both of your questionnaires and have you walk away with some actionable tips to really limit the toxic load on your neurotoxic score. So would either
I
of you
didn't
like to
see
unmute
it.
and share?
Sorry, I didn't. I didn't see it in the
Oh,
community, but I wasn't. I don't know. There was actually a lot that happened in the community yesterday,
yes.
so I might have just not. I might have just overlooked it.
That's okay. Okay, I'll make sure that it's crystal clear. I did do a post last night. I know everything kind of came in late. Um, in there is a link to a Google Drive, and I will also post it here in the chat, so you can get it one way or the other. And that way, there's all three questionnaires are in this Google Drive, and you'll be able to get all three done over the next, get at least one done a day so that tomorrow you can get your metabolic flexibility score. It only takes a few minutes. These questions aren't to be overthought. There's no wrong or right answer. This is for you to have your true baseline. So just
Right.
being honest with yourself and then just, like I said, it's a tool to revisit like every 30 days or so, and you can watch how your score is fluctuating and you can see what areas you're giving yourself, celebrate the wins where you're less feeling more optimized. And then you can also look at where you use it as a roadmap to kind of look at where you might need extra support. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay, cool. All right, Ashley, I know you had a chance to get through your neurotoxic questionnaire. Would you like to share any surprises through the list that kind of made you think, oh, okay, um, before we get to your actual score?
Let me see. Hangry with the food. You know, I'm pretty good with I yeah, I'm pretty good on all these. I
Oh,
know
great.
yeah, I know high blood pressure, no cholesterol, have you taken birth control? Yeah, really everything is, I kind of corrected all my stuff about like 5 years ago when I was like, oh,
Good.
okay, all this stuff is really what we got taught younger is wrong. Um, but yeah, so nothing really kind of came at me as surprise on this one, but I got what, 24?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
You are under this 0 to 25 is the low toxic threshold, so that's fantastic. And you're ahead of the game in front of a lot of people. And I'm very curious, since you mentioned it, you mentioned we've been taught differently. And would you like to share any of your key takeaways with that?
Yeah, like birth control was one thing that I took, I had a boyfriend young. My mom put me on birth control when I was, oh gosh, 13. And I was on for, till I was 24 or something like that. And it just, it's just easy, they just, oh, take the birth control, right? When it's really, what is it doing to your body? And it's suppressing, hormones and just, it's just literally wreaking havoc on your entire system. And that's kind of, it's taken me 4 to 5 years to get out of all what that created for me, which is, really messed up hormones and my liver and, just all that kind of stuff that I've been taking. And
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I'm really glad you brought that up. A lot of people don't underestimate the value of having a period. We think it's inconvenient, but I will say one thing, that it's a huge time of detox.
hmm
They've found forever chemicals, plastics in our menstrual blood. So just so you know, share it with your girlfriends, share it with your people you love, because we think it's convenient and it's kind of nice not to have a period. But when you normalize and learn how to work with your hormones, you can have a very smooth cycle without
right.
symptoms.
Yes,
And it's an opportunity to learn, instead of masking it with the pill or
right,
IUI or something, it's an opportunity to learn, oh, what do my symptoms mean? Maybe I can use this as an opportunity to give my body support and understand how I can feel better and have a healthy cycle. So I love
right.
that you brought that up. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, of course.
Um, yeah, so that's great. So you had a really low toxic load, but what I will say is just, things that you can do for free to really clean up our toxic exposure and limit the toxic load is to have, live plants in our house. And I know some of us might not have the greenest thumb, but we can all, support a cactus. One of the ones that I think doesn't require a lot of extra care are those, the mother-in-law tongue plants, and they're
Mm,
really well known for cleaning the air around you. So I have two in my bedroom, one on each bedside table. And they thrive, and I basically remember to water them like maybe once a month, if that. So I put there's like that little mossy fern stuff on the top, and so it really does great. In fact, I had to take them out and cut them down because they were growing out of their pot. So,
so,
and then opening up our windows, of course, these are easy, low-hanging fruits to often we're in our cars with the windows up. We're, in our homes, in our workplaces with the windows up. So anytime you can have an opportunity to have fresh air, it's amazing because we get off gases from our furniture and everything in our house. So it's nice. Often, the air outside is much cleaner than the air inside. Um, and then personal care products, doing a personal care audit in your bath care products, looking at your shampoos, your lotions. Often these sneaky fragrances, anything with a fragrance is called an endocrine disruptor, and endocrine disruptor means hormone disruptor. So if we can kind of do a little personal care audit on what you're putting on your skin, your largest organ, having a water filter for your shower head is can be inexpensive. You can find inexpensive, effective ones on Amazon for less than $30. And that really makes a big difference because if you think about it, we're having a nice hot shower and we're inhaling a lot of the chlorine that's in our water. And that's an easy way. And then also for those ladies that, have a little color enhancement in our hair, it also can help make our color treatments last a little longer and not get so brassy. But chlorine's not just the only culprit, but there's other things in our water too that we want to filter out. So that's an easy low-hanging fruit to do. You can get ones for your bath as well. Um, and what lotions we're putting on our body, what body washes we're using, shampoos, and makeup. Um, Also, I love to scrape my tongue in the morning. I've mentioned an inexpensive Ayurvedic tongue scraper you can find for a couple of dollars. Often they come in copper, which is also great for the body, antimicrobial. So that's something that you can do first thing in the morning before you drink or consume any food. Is you just get this tongue scraper and you just have a light pressure on the tongue. You start at the back and you bring it forward to the tip of your tongue, maybe 4 or 5 passes. You'll notice often there's like a white coating on the tongue, and that's candida that's been dying off overnight while you're sleeping. And instead of swallowing that or with your first sips of water, you can get out in a bed. And bonus tip is you're stimulating your tongue. It's just like your reflexology of your feet or your ears. You've got organ systems that correspond to your tongue map. And when you're doing that, you're stimulating digestion in your organs. So, and elimination. So that's a good tip. Do
I have
any
a
of you have,
question.
I beg your pardon?
I have a question
Yeah.
about that. I always brush my tongue after I brush my teeth. Is that uh,
Yeah, that's fine.
sufficient?
Yeah, that's totally fine. I really think that, but the Ayurvedic tongue scraping is very beneficial. For the low cost investment, I have it right next to my toothbrush. So now that you're already brushing your teeth, you can just do that first, because sometimes if you're in there brushing, I mean, I don't know how much, I don't want to, I don't know, this is not validated in science, but I mean, if your tongue's full of germs and you're brushing your teeth and you're just moving things around, why not just, scrape your tongue off and stimulate your digestion at the same time and elimination before you brush your teeth? Or maybe you do that before you eat your breakfast because you probably eat and then brush your teeth after, unless, I don't know, maybe you brush your teeth first thing in the morning, but
No, I don't.
yeah.
No.
Yeah. So maybe, yeah. So that might be a better habit is getting into the tongue scraping. And then when you have your breakfast and your hydration, and then you brush your teeth afterwards, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
Okay.
Yeah. Great question. And oil pulling is another thing that people talk about. And I don't know about you, but it's hard if you've ever heard of it. It's like when you put coconut oil in your mouth, you swish it around, and they really say you have to do it for like 10 minutes. And my cheeks, I mean, who has time? And you get so sore and you're just like, forget it. That's not going to last. A cool tip that I've heard is using castor oil. You don't have to do it for as long. You do have to spit it out though. So you have to, I don't recommend spitting out into your toilet or your drains because it can clog them up. So you might want to spit it out into a tissue or something and put it in the trash. And you don't need a lot, like not even a teaspoon. I find the less you use, the better, the more manageable it is. Because if you can do it for like a minute, it's antimicrobial, antibacterial. It's supposed to, good for teeth health, and so it's just a win-win. And you don't need to do it as long as you would need. They recommend doing coconut oil. So there's another little side tip. And then, I love my castor oil night routine. So this is another way to limit the toxic load. And who doesn't want to tip while you're sleeping? It's simple as getting a castor oil. You only need about a quarter size in the palm of your hand. And I put a little bit in my belly button. That's Ayurvedic medicine. You put a little bit like a smiley face underneath your belly button, and then a little over your low right ribs. Underneath your floating right ribs, that's where your liver lives, your gallbladder. And castor oil is very penetrating. It can help soften up stagnation in that area. And if you've got, and most of us have stones and cholesterol and fatty deposits that are kind of gumming up our biliary ducts, that where the bile is supposed to go through. So basically, the bile is produced in the liver, and the gallbladder is the storage bladder. It's the gallbladder, the storage bladder for that bile that's supposed to be released when we have something fatty. It helps digest fat, helps us get our fat-soluble vitamins out of our food, and it helps regulate the pH of our GI system. A lot of us think about pH and we're told, oh, you got to drink pH adjusted water for your digestion, and that's a bunch of rubbish. You actually need a very acidic stomach to digest the food you eat. And what we are concerned about is having an acidic bloodstream. So the bloodstream is what we're concerned about, not the acidity of your GI tract. So the bloodstream is important when you release the bile. It does impact the bloodstream, the pH of that intestinal tract, which is important because when you maintain healthy pH, that's when viruses, bacteria, and opportunistic parasites cannot thrive. So we really want to have our liver and gallbladder functioning well. And one clue when you know your liver and gallbladder aren't functioning well is emotional. Hello, Rachel. Oh shoot. Can you believe I'm not recording this? Oh no, I am recording this. Wow. I had a moment. Okay. Um, so bile, we were talking about bile and regulating pH. And then when you're dysregulated in your pH, you get bloating, you don't digest fats well, you might have loose stools. Um, you have signs of parasite imbalances and bloating that and cravings. This could be candida, like cravings for carbs, sugar, and alcohol. Um, and the pH is very important. So understanding how to optimize the flow of our bile while you sleep is a castor oil pack. That's where I was going with this. So if you sleep, it's simple. A quarter size a little bit in the belly button, a little bit under a smiley face underneath the belly button, rub it in. You'll see a little glistening on the tummy. It does absorb pretty quickly, but it's not entirely absorbed in. So you want to wear like an old t-shirt that you don't care about, but also get a cotton organic wrap that you wear around your tummy to protect your clothes. It's a very sexy wrap. I will say my husband loves it. Anyway, so I try to wear it I wear it most nights. Um, and sometimes I'll just wear it during the day if I forget to wear it the night before. And an hour is good enough, but overnight is even better. So 50% of the benefits come from the castor oil itself. It's very penetrating. And when you rub it over your liver, which is the lower right side underneath those floating ribs, I even say, I love you, liver, to myself. Thank you for doing all your jobs. It has 500 jobs every day. And our gallbladder, is right there. So they're buddies. And I just say, thank you, gallbladder, for doing your job and releasing bile when I need it, and so I can absorb my fat soluble vitamins, and you can keep my pH regulated in my GI tract. Um, Sleeping with a castor oil pack is such a low-hanging fruit and so easy to do. The other 50% of the benefit of castor oil packs come with nervous system regulation. And we know if we're not regulating our nervous system, we're probably out of whack. And the things that we're doing aren't well received as much as they could be. So regulation of the nervous system is key. And that's, Jeff was talking about the breath work and having a longer exhale than we do inhale. That's instant, one of the quickest ways to regulate the nervous system. And sleeping with the castor oil pack is kind of like a warm hug because you got the oil there. I put it on my skin first, then I put the wrap around, and I don't even think about it. It gets warm and it's kind of like a cozy hug. So it's a really nice way to do it. Okay. And what else? Let me see what messages are coming in here because I just want to make sure no one in Harmonium's trying to get on or they don't have the link or something. I have 7 messages. Okay. We
Hey,
are.
that
Okay.
the question, the castor oil mouth pull, is it good to do it in the morning or at night? Or does it
I
matter?
would say in the morning because at night you're collecting all the toxins because you haven't been eating,
Hmm.
and the candida is coming out as well as dying off. So that's what that white coating is on your tongue.
Okay.
So definitely do it in the morning. And if you feel like bonus points, do it at night, do it at night. That's great. Yeah, it can't hurt. Um, so yeah, give it a go and let me know how it goes. Yeah, I say, pull one thing out that I'm talking about and do it for 7 days. And then pull the next thing out that resonates with you and stack it to whatever you're doing. Stack it to your, before you eat your breakfast, that's when you do your tongue scraping. And then after you brush your teeth, or I guess you would probably oil pull before you brush your teeth. Yeah, that sounds good to me. And look at the toothpaste you're using, let's get rid of this conventional stuff. It's terrible. Lean into something else. Find something with charcoal in it. I have like 3 different ones I rotate just to switch it up now and then. If you're interested in that, one of them I think is called Himalayan something or other. Another one's like charcoal. One's called David's. I use the David's travel size ones when I travel. Yeah. And deodorant. Okay, I have tried every single freaking natural deodorant on the planet, and a lot of them don't work. This is true. And I found one that works, and I haven't switched, and I've been on it for probably 10 years. It's called Primally Pure, and it has charcoal in it. It doesn't irritate, and it works. I love it, and it's clean. And if you need to wear deodorant, I know a few people that are lucky enough that don't need to wear it, but yeah, no, I'm not one of those people.
What was the name of that again?
Primally Pure, and that's the brand. And I think they might have 2 types, and I use the one with the charcoal in it.
Okay.
There it is. Thank you, Ashley. Awesome. Yeah, and by the way, it's a little, how much is it, Ashley? It's kind of expensive, but it lasts me 6 months, and Guy and I share it. I know that sounds kind of weird, but we do. He doesn't need it all the time, but when he does decide to wear it, we just share it.
Yeah, it's $22 for the 2.5 ounces.
Yeah, it sounds expensive, but honestly, I think that lasts at least 6 months. And I wear it twice a day. Oh no, I just wear it in the morning. I don't wear it before bed. Yeah.
Okay, because I buy native right now, which is probably not
Yeah.
the best, and
You know
it's
what?
expensive
It
and
is
it goes
expensive.
quick.
Yeah,
So
it
this
does go
sounds
quick. And I
cheaper.
used to use native and I would, I'm the aunt that gets everyone, stocking stuffers as deodorant. I'm that nerd. So I had all my nephews, my stepkids, everyone was on it. But now I'm like, everyone, the new thing in town is it's primarily pure.
Okay. Do I have to get that like online?
Yeah, it's just their website. I don't believe you can get it anywhere but their website. So
Okay.
I'm on subscription, so it's a little cheaper on subscription, and you can push it out to 6 months or whatever you want.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm really excited for you to get a chance to get your other scores. Um, so tomorrow was there any questions at all about this metabolic flexibility? Oh my gosh, I almost forgot the crux of everything. So the neurotoxic questionnaire. So what we're really doing here is we're looking at how we can limit our toxic load. So that's what we've talked about. I just want to recap. So we're limiting our quality of air. So we're opening up our windows in our car, in our homes. We are looking at what we're putting on our skin, what we're using in the bathroom, or what we're using under our arms. We don't want antiperspirants. We want to be able to sweat, but we don't want to offend ourselves and others around us, right? So primarily pure is my fave. We want to limit re-swallowing the toxins in our mouth that have accumulated overnight. So we're tongue scraping, we're oil pulling, and Beam Minerals, BEAM Minerals. They're my favorite. There's electrolytes and Micro Boost. Both of these formulas, it comes in the women's kit. There's a men's kit and a women's kit. They just have different sprays. Anyway, if you go to beamminerals.com, if you're curious, so basically they're tasteless. I have a very diluted version right now in my water. It's just because I had a little bit left, but I topped my water off. So I do a half dose in the morning. I put a half cap of the electrolytes and a half cap of the Micro Boost in a tall glass of water. That's after I've scraped my tongue, brushed my teeth. No, after I've scraped my tongue, then I do this. I haven't eaten, and I wait a few. I don't eat my first meal until like 11 or 12 or something, typically. But I'll get into that more when we talk about metabolic flexibility and how to cycle our feast and fasting timing with our hormone profile. And this is going to be really juicy. You're not going to want to miss it. This is free. This is going to optimize your thrive state, get you into the ketosis, naturally fat burn, boost your mood, dopamine reset, immune boosting reset, gut reset. This is going to be a 30-day juicy cycle. I normally, I work with my clients and this is a $369 value. So I want you guys to lean in and take advantage of this. That's my invitation to you and my gift to Harmonium. So please show up for yourself for the metabolic flexibility call tomorrow at 11:30. And I'll make sure that the post is in Harmonium with the questionnaire. I'll put that in this afternoon. So what I'm going to say to you about toxic load and beam minerals so the art of optimizing your toxic load and your metabolic flexibility and your mitochondria health is learning how to go in between feasting, using food as medicine, and fasting, using water and minerals and even frequencies to support your fasted state so that you are thriving from the inside out, building resilience to your environment and building resilience to aging. Stubborn belly fat and a struggle with menopause does not have to be your story. Whether your parents struggled with it, whether your girlfriends are struggling with it, it's been normalized, but you can break the cycle. So that's what we're talking about, especially epigenetics. You don't have to have a cheek swab and your customized formula to optimize your genetics, but it certainly helps. And there's, without really knowing your genetic blueprint, without doing that cheek swab test, you're kind of throwing darts a little bit, but there are things you could do to move the needle, but we don't know specifically to be precise for you. And for whole food nutrition, and if you are spending any money at all on a monthly basis on supplements, this is where you should dedicate your money and time. As a holistic health practitioner, my world can definitely get greenwashed. There's so many shiny objects out there. I just got back from a biohacking conference on Sunday, and I'm like, oh, this and oh, that. But you really have to come back to the basics, because you are as unique as your genetic blueprint. Your genetics aren't fixed. We know this now with epigenetics. So 90% of how well your genes behave, for the better or for worse, is up to you and your daily choices, not necessarily what you've been given from mom and dad. So these things can be, you can break the cycles of family patterns of, high cholesterol, metabolic dysfunction, brain, cognitive decline, so many things. So I just want you to know it's a positive thing, and you can be really empowered when you look at your genetics. And the really cool thing, there's a lot of genetic tests out there, and a lot of them are expensive. I don't know anyone that looks at 103 SNPs and formulates your customized whole food-based formula for you to bridge gaps in your unique genetic weaknesses. And so I'm just really thrilled to be aligned with companies like this and to bring this to people in my world, because I feel like it can really move the needle for people. Anyway, that's what I'll say there. And then the 10 reports that you get with that report, with that the insights into your genetic blueprint, the insights are so powerful. Like you not only do you get your custom formula, but you get adaptogens in there, which help bring homeostasis to the body in the right dosage for you uniquely. Like I've compared my formula with so many people's formulas. Everyone's different. There was identical twins tested, and their formulas came back different. That's because of their environment exposure and how even though they have the same genetic makeup, but it's how their body and their toxic bucket relates to their environment around them, internally and externally. So, so we're going to learn about there's 6 different fasting styles, right? So there's intermittent fasting. Most of us have heard about it. That's pretty much 13 to 15 hours where you start dwindling down that glucose level in the bloodstream and you become more insulin sensitive. We do know a cure for type 1 and type 2 diabetes, even type 3 diabetes, which is called Alzheimer's and dementia. It's just not mainstream knowledge, but that's the type 3 diabetes. That's what they're calling it. It's blood sugar in the brain. Not all dementia and Alzheimer's patients that have died and they looked at their brains, not all of them have the plaque, but what they do have is elevated insulin resistance and elevated sugar in the brain. So these things, can really help people, even that are suffering. You can change and reverse these things with diet and the right support at the foundational level. So there's intermittent fasting, which dwindles down the glucose level and improves insulin resistance. So do you guys know what insulin resistance is? Okay, so insulin's job is insulin is secreted by the pancreas. The insulin is like a briefcase. It puts glucose into the briefcase and it's like maybe a boarding pass. It's like a boarding pass. It's the boarding pass that gets glucose out of the blood and into the cell for fuel, for cellular function. And when you're insulin resistant, the cell doesn't hear, the TSA is closed. It doesn't see the boarding passes there. There's no scanner. No one's there waiting for you to get on the plane, waiting for that boarding pass to get to that blood sugar to get into the cell. So that's insulin resistance. So what happens? The cell's like, I'm really hungry. I could use some sugar over here. Your blood sugar's dipping. You're feeling hungry. You're faint. You keep eating. All of a sudden, your blood sugar is going through the roof in your bloodstream, but it's not getting out of your bloodstream. It's just circulating, and insulin is getting pumped. Your body's like, I need more insulin. It's knocking louder on the door of your cell, but your cell can't hear it. It doesn't know that you're sitting out there with a ton of glucose trying to get in. That's insulin resistance. And so that's, type 2 diabetes. That's high A1C above 5. We want to get your A1C below. So that's what we're going to do with fasting. So that's why intermittent fasting is valuable, because it allows you to start depleting your muscles start using the blood sugar out of the bloodstream. Your cells become more insulin sensitive, so you don't have to pump so much insulin into the body and it's getting into the cell. But when you're hydrated properly, when you're eating healthy fats, you need a healthy cell membrane tension, and you need to lower the chronic inflammation. So all these things, nothing is in a silo. All these things are working together. As you're fasting, these things are reducing and it's improving that communication between the insulin and your cell to get the glucose into the cell. So now, say we've got glucose into the cell and it's having a party in there, and your cell's like, oh, thank you, I needed that. It's functioning. But it doesn't have, sometimes you're hydrating and you're peeing clear all day long, and you're like, wow, I'm a hydrating master, right? Who thinks peeing clear is hydration? Yeah, I mean, we've been told that, right? But honestly, you need your pee to be slightly straw color because that means the pee's gone into the cell, which is, I'm sorry, not the pee, the hydration has gone into the cell, and where the hydration is needed to support cell function. And then so it brings in minerals because we all heard about osmosis in biology in school, right? So like you need a high concentration of salts, which are minerals, all the salts, like 70 trace minerals, to go into things go from a high concentration to a low concentration. That's osmosis, right? So that's when the cells plump up and they're like, oh, I'm hydrated. But we're constantly, most people are drinking bottled water that has no minerals in it, or tap water or filtered water that's been demineralized, a lot of RO water out there. You need to remineralize your water because we're not getting it in our fruits and vegetables. Our soils are depleted. You need to replenish your minerals. I don't even call it a supplement. It's a basic 101 foundation. You need to replenish your minerals. So Beam minerals are my favorite. You can use code Mangold for a decent discount, and you get a month's supply, and you do a half dose in the morning and a half dose at night. You need the trace minerals. The amount of, if I had $1 for people that say, which magnesium should I take? It's confusing. There's all these different types of magnesium. I get cramps or I can't sleep. So it's this magnesium and that magnesium. I don't really remember that. But guess what? What does remember? Your body knows. So when you take a complete full spectrum mineral, which are being minerals, these are naturally occurring from the soil. They're not man-made. Your body knows exactly what to do. You need the cofactors and the trace minerals to get from your hydration that's circulating between your cells into the cells. And then what gives my water the brown color is it's tasteless, by the way. The humic and fulvic acids that naturally occur in these minerals. It acts like Velcro once it gets in the cell to bring the waste out, and the other one acts like street sweepers through the bloodstream and the lymph to get to sweep the toxins into your lymph for elimination. So, I mean, people ask me, oh, I take these, sachets called something IV hydration or whatever. You look at the back of those ingredients, all those sachets, 9 times out of 10, the second or first ingredient, even worse, is sugar. And they may have potassium and it may have sodium, but you need 70 trace minerals and cofactors to get into your cells. So that stuff is rubbish and a waste of money.
So are they like electrolytes in a way, or?
Yeah, so it is so the B minerals are electrolytes. One's a bottle of electrolytes and one's a bottle of microboost. And you take a half dose of each, which is half a cap of each one. And does that
Okay.
answer your question?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so you need the trace minerals to get the job done. And then naturally occurring humic and fulvic acid is a gentle detoxer, a gentle, even heavy metal cleanser. And you got to be careful when it comes to heavy metals. So you need to do it in a responsible way. And hydration and doing it with Beam is a very good way. And then when we go through what what's gonna come after these 3 days is when we get into our 30-day reset, I'm gonna give you guys like a way to titrate up on the fulvic acid on the microboost so that you can certain times of the month, and you're going to map this to your hormone profile. And if you're not cycling with your period, I got you covered too. It's just you got to cycle these things because it's like high interval training for the body. You don't do the same thing every day. You don't do the same fast every day. You've got to cycle these things. And you'll move the toxins out of your system without doing harsh detoxes. This is all about terrain versus germ theory. I did an article in Harmonium last night about that too, and you can read more about that. So, are there any questions? Okay, awesome.
I found the tests, by the
Oh,
way.
good. Yay.
Yeah.
Yay. Okay, so tomorrow we're going to talk about the metabolic flexibility. Again, that's, how well do you move between sugar burner and fat burner? And to know this about yourself, you're like, well, am I a snacker? Do I really feel like I get low blood sugar and I get hangry? If you can't go 3 to 4 hours between meals without eating, you need to look at your metabolic flexibility. That's just your body saying, you're getting the energy crashes. If you really feel like you need to rely on caffeine to get you motivated in the morning and that afternoon slump, um, to get you through the afternoon, you need some caffeine or something. If you're having energy crashes, this is a sign of metabolic flexibility issues. When we go into longer fasts, if you get lightheaded and dizzy, this is a mineral deficiency most often. Sometimes it could be, toxins moving through the body, but usually we do this pretty supported so that um, it could be just really blocked toxic pathways. Sometimes when you start moving things, people get lightheaded and dizzy. So we'll cover you with hydration and minerals. And the castor oil packs are going to help gently help with elimination. You'll notice even if you have a pretty good elimination in the morning, you might notice it feels more complete and more bulk is released because the castor oil really gets penetrated and it helps with that peristalsis, which is that contraction of the GI system to move things along.
That's what I need.
Yeah. Yes. And so there's a really nice way to be able to massage as well. And you can use a little bit of castor oil. Again, a little bit goes a long way. You don't want to get it on your clothes. So we always try to wear either an old t-shirt you don't really care about or the castor oil pack itself. So you go down the descending colon first on the left side. So think about from the top of your low ribs down to your hip bone on the left. And if you can go pretty slow, and Ashley could probably teach us a thing or two about this with her massage background. So feel free to chime in, Ashley. And then you go across I'll show you my beautiful stomach while I'm doing it. So you go down this left side here, that's your descending colon. And sometimes in the morning before you even get out of bed, you can feel it. It might feel a little, um, a little, it could feel tender to touch. You could feel it could feel even hard. And that's, you're getting ready to eliminate. And then you go across this way. So I always do this in steps. So I start here first, and then I go like this 3 times. Then I go down again. So I repeat. And then I go up on this side 3 times. And then I'm like 3 times this way. And then down again. And then I'll do the bottom last. So bottom this way, and then up, and then this way, and then down. That completes it. So that didn't take long, right? And when I'm doing that with castor oil before bed and in the morning, oh man, I really feel like I have a nice elimination in the morning.
Yeah, it's good. If you do it the clockwise,
Yes,
make sure you do it clockwise because the other way it's kind of pushing it the other way, kind of thing.
Tip. Yeah, make sure it's clockwise. Yeah, great tip.
Yeah. When I was doing the prolonged fast a couple months ago, I was on day 5 and I had to eat salt. I had to put salt in because I just got so lightheaded and I was like, what's happening? And then I was reading, put some salt on your tongue.
Perfect.
That helped me a lot.
Yes, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
I had a client in Italy. He's like, Trish, what's going on? He's like, everyone's manja, manja, manja. My family, my aunts, my mom, everyone thinks I'm crazy because I'm not eating. He did he did a 72-hour fast, but he was somewhere like 29 hours into it and he was feeling super lightheaded. And I said, find a quality salt. Find a quality, not that table white salt. If you do yourself one favor today, throw away any sort of just table white salt that you have in your house. Don't even have it in your house. Good. I think we're on the same page with that. I see a lot of nodding. So Celtic sea salt is a great one. Baja Gold is supposed to be higher in the trace minerals and lower in the sodium content. I love my B minerals, so you do get your 70 trace minerals in there too. But for cooking, I definitely cook with a quality salt, and Baja Gold was in my breakfast today.
What about iodine? Because I know salt is in the iodine, and no one uses table salt anymore. I was super low in iodine, and
Yeah. So
you
I like to
say,
do whole food sources instead of supplementing with it because we need it for our thyroid.
right.
And so I do seaweeds. I love seaweeds like kombu, Kombu. It's kind of a harder seaweed. You can get it at Whole Foods or on Amazon. And you can cut like an inch of it, and I put it in soups and stocks.
Mm.
And then I also wrap. I've been wrapping, like a normal nori sheet that you get like when you have sushi. Those are inexpensive at the grocery store, and I've been doing these amazing. I've been obsessed. It's kind of Japanese inspired. I've been doing like a soft boiled egg. So the yolks of an egg are super, super healthy, healthy fats. I don't know if your doctor, if I know, okay, Ashley told me that she doesn't have any cholesterol issues, but a lot of people that do aren't told that only 25% of your blood circulating cholesterol comes from your diet. The rest is your body makes it. You need it for your brain health, you need it for cell integrity, and you need it for your hormones. So that puts it into perspective, right? So the people that are afraid of egg yolks, it drives me bananas because egg yolks are so heart healthy. Like when did eggs become not good for your heart? And Honey Nut Cheerios is like they get the check mark stamp for heart healthy. It drives, I
Mm.
mean, bloody hell, just drives me nuts. So, um, so another tip. So what I did with this seaweed, so let me finish that thought because I am clearly all over the map sometimes. Um, so today I'm always trying to educate people on eggs. So this was my breakfast today, if you can see that. Yummy, runny, not everyone can stomach the runny yolks, but if you can, do it because when you cook them, you kind of cook the good enzymes out. So that's an example. Um, but I wanted to show you the seaweed one. So I get the wrap. I've mastered the soft boiled eggs. So the whites are cooked, hard boiling, but not to hard boil. I think it's like 7 minutes if they're room temperature or something like that. Anyway, I I'm going to show you the picture real quick. But I basically, picture sells 1,000 words. It's too hard to explain. Where are you, picture? Here we go. So this is the nori sheet behind, if you can see. That's the black part. I haven't wrapped it yet. So I put bitter greens. Arugula, by the way, is not a lettuce. It's part of that Brassica family. It's very good for your liver. I have hemp hearts in there. 3 tablespoons has more omega-3s than salmon without the um, risk of heavy mercury or farmed salmon. Um, let's see what else I have in there. I have, fermented beets and cabbage, which you can use your favorite sauerkraut or kraut or whatever. Um, what else do I have in here? I think that's about it. Oh, I put some good salt in. Well, I didn't put salt in there because I have my the seaweed salty enough. So then I just wrap that up like a little kind of, I do my best. It's kind of like a burrito or something. You just kind of have to eat it before it falls apart, but it's delicious. And I have 2 of those.
It looks really good, actually. It looks like a expensive thing at a restaurant.
It
Yeah, it
was,
looks great.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was delicious. And I have a friend who was staying with us in Vegas who's very much a creature of habit, and he makes the same breakfast every day, but he does make eggs. And but he's like, that's interesting. He goes, I should really mix it up a little. So I'm like, you curious? You want one? He's like, no, I'm good. And then second day he had one. He's like, that's pretty good. I should mix it up. So yeah. He was my client. He was a friend actually that won't name any names, so I'll share the story, but he was having some GI issues, bleeding, and happened to get to the hospital while he was actively bleeding. He did um uh what do you call it? Like they did a scan and couldn't find the source of bleeding, but he's actively bleeding, like it's atrocious, like crazy. The doctors like nothing, inconclusive, couldn't find source of bleeding. They went in both ends, down and the other end. And I said, look, just lean into a 24-hour fast. And if you could do a 72-hour fast, your stem cells are not, your body produces its own stem cells and it knows the innate intelligence of your body will produce the stem cells where your body needs it most. If you can do that, I have a feeling that your body will respond and heal. You're activating your thrive state. He's like, I don't know. He's like, I'm an intermittent faster. I can go 15, 16 hours, but 24 hours, 72 hours, I don't know. And I'm like, just try it. And if you can't, these are the things you can lean into, herbal teas and get your minerals. And there are such thing as fasted snacks. I'm like, you can have, a handful of olives, a little bit of avocado. And he's like, okay. He leaned into it, no fasted snacks, and his issue never came back. Although I will say he is doing it like every other month, he'll lean into like a 48-hour, and he has done 72-hour more frequently than, for women, I'd say like 72 hours, maybe twice a year is good. For men, they can do it more often. But every woman's different, every human's different. You've got to be your own in of what is in of one study, right? Your own unique, you got to see what works for you. And you got to figure out like this, what I teach my clients to go through. I'm just a guide, but we look at what the body's telling you, and you become, you get a master's in your own health because you start to understand what your body's telling you. Instead of running for the Tylenol or the doctor, you can be like, I think, I think I'm, I think my body needs this. And you can try it on for size and you'll get feedback from the body. The body will tell you. So it's pretty cool. It's just a very empowering way to live. So the one thing I will say about circulating blood levels is, we go and get these annual blood checks, and it's a flash in the pan. It's a flash in the pan of what, nutrients you've been eating in the handful of days. The only thing that really gives you, like your A1C gives you a 3-month reflection of what your average blood sugar has been over the last 90 days. And that's a good number to know. You want it 5 and under. That's a healthy metabolic blood sugar range. Anything above that is considered pre-diabetic. And here's the fun fact. Unless you ask for that stupid test, which is very cheap and inexpensive, it's a couple extra bucks. More often than not, your doctor, it's not standard protocol for them to put that on that test, which drives me bananas. So it's the one thing that's actually helpful, and it's not standard to get on your results. So always ask for that. And then what I do say is like, it's not what's circulating your blood that really matters. It's what's happening inside your cells. It's that methylation. 70% of us have a methylation issue in our genetics. I know I do. If you look up the WHO, it'll say like 35%, but it's really like 70%. And what that means, it doesn't, so again, these are actionable genes that you can do something about with whole food nutrition. So it's not like, oh shit, I'm MTHFR, I'm screwed. It's the motherfucker gene. It looks like motherfucker for a reason. MTHFR. Anyway, so it's affectionately called the motherfucker gene. I didn't coin that. But what methylation and motherfucker gene means is that you're not able to turn genes on and off at the right time all the time. And it affects our detox pathways. So it just means we need extra support in those areas. And when it comes to your customized whole food nutrition from SNP, you can bridge the gaps in your genetic weaknesses so that your baseline is functioning better, so that when you're, say, imagine you're cruising down the freeway in second gear and you don't even know it. That's someone not knowing what their genetic weaknesses are. But when you're cruising down the freeway and you're taking your customized formula, but you also know your genetic weaknesses and you're doing lifestyle choices around it to strengthen your genetic function at the cellular level, that's you cruising down the freeway in 5th gear very efficiently. So you're going to be able to go longer, and your system's running in a better, more efficient way. These quizzes are very powerful too, and giving insights, and they don't cost $1. So let's lean into them and use them as tools to revisit every 30, 60, 90 days. And you can really give yourself a nice roadmap of where you need to be and what you need to be doing. Health doesn't have to be complicated. And when you understand a 30-day protocol to ebb and flow with your diet, with the eating styles, and with fasting for your hormone profile through all stages of life, this is something that's like gold, worth its weight in gold for you for the rest of your life. So that's why I'm building my company's Elevate Vitality. My tagline is Balance, Optimize, Thrive. And what I'm doing here is building a 30-day, like a monthly community, a community where we can build our 30-day resets that continue to evolve with you as you grow, meeting you where you're at today and evolving with you on a month-to-month basis. Yay. So I'm really happy that you guys are here, and I'm excited to post this recording in Harmonium and see you both and everyone else tomorrow at 11:30 rather, 11:30 Pacific. And we're going to talk about metabolic flexibility, and that's where we'll get into the 6 types of fasting. So we talked about intermittent fasting today, but we're going to tell you the milestones. We're going to talk about the milestones of every fast so that when you understand the science and what's happening in your biology through this, it's motivating, it's empowering. We'll talk about healthy state changers so that when you feel like, oh, I think, I need something to eat, or it's often not eating, it's probably the first 24 hours that your candida dying off, you're going to shift your microbiome. Things might come out on your skin. You might get slightly headachy, but that's why we lean into like good minerals to hydrate with. And we have tools to move our lymph and to limit the toxic load as we start mobilizing things that have been stored in our bodies when we're moving through fasted states. When we get into that ketosis, our brain thrives in ketones. So anyone that's experiencing brain fog or cognitive decline, any of your loved ones, these are gold nuggets for you to share with them. That don't cost $1 and don't cost and save you time. You're not in the kitchen cooking and you're not shopping at the grocery store for food. So, it's kind of fun. Okay. We're just a little over the hour, but if there's any other questions or we'll see you same time tomorrow and bring your metabolic flexibility scores from the questionnaire. Anything under 25, you're metabolically healthy, but always room for improvement. When we're in our metabolic flexibility questionnaire and you're looking at anything between 25 and 50, we're moving towards a crisis. So we need to be proactive instead of wait for symptoms. And we don't need to get stressed about it, but an easy weekly rule. The 30-day reset is broken down into a 4-2-1 rule. 4 days a week, you're going to do X. 2 days a week, you're going to do Y. And 1 day a week, you're going to do Z. And that Z is nothing. So isn't that nice? So this is the 4-2-1 is going to be mapped to your unique hormone profile and your unique goals. So that's how we customize things. It's not a one size fits all approach. And then metabolically unhealthy, well, anyone over 51. So these things are not fixed and we can flip that script pretty quickly. So that's the good news. All right. Well, I love you guys. Thank you for showing up for yourselves and for me and for this collective connection. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Thanks, Trish.
You're welcome.